It's Thursday, February 4. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Carol Francis. Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang says the government is committed to the fight against crime. Speaking at Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing, Dr. Chang underscored the need for increased investment in that sector. Simone Absalom Gale reports.
The security minister says the security forces have been demonstrating a more efficient response to criminal activities, but admitted that in recent times the level of crime has increased.
We have been, for the last 20 years, running over 1,000 murders. The police force, even expanded as it was equipped, cannot deal with that in any single year. As a matter of fact, it's just not something you'd overcome in that with any immediacy. And we will continue to invest and expand and develop the equipment of the police force to be able to deal with that and bring the level of homicides down to a more manageable level. And in fact, bring it down to a level where normal policing at the indicated levels of about 14,000 establishment will be able to deal with it.
He affirms that the crime strategies have been working, but says new and improved legislations are still needed to support the officers on ground.
But we're at a bad point still in terms of the numbers of homicides, and we do think we need additional tools. Some we are doing. Legislation takes time. We may have been a bit slower than we should be, but it does take time to prepare complex legislation. It goes through the process with the lawyers. Those are coming.
Minister Chang says he's prepared to debate in Parliament on special measures proposed to combat crime.
Of course, numbers are statistics and can always be interpreted and somewhat predicted in different ways, but the reality is we're having a large number of our citizens being killed, and they're focused on a number of areas. And I then note if we examine what we call in security terms the southern belt of the corporate area, and the area that ranges from Bull Bay in the east to Marvel in the west, we need extraordinary powers to deal with what is a chronic endemic epidemic of crime in that area. We are having second and third generation gangsters, and the interplay of gang conflict will always be devastating until we get to another level down there in terms of security and in terms of having invested significantly in the social infrastructure down there.
A well-used tool in the box for the government has been the use of states of emergency to suppress crime levels in troublesome divisions. Dr. Chang commented on the SOEs as a long-term strategy.
The state of public emergency applied in Jamaica in the last 2 years could be a model for use by any democratic elected government in the region and anywhere where they are challenged by extreme violence, because it has been administered in a manner that has certainly not only protected lives, as we have seen the significant reduction in the areas where it's applied, but it has been applied in a manner that has protected the rights of the citizens in every way. We have had very few complaints of any level of brutality by the security forces. We have had no single any shooting that could be described as extrajudicial, and that's just a fact of it. The judges have questioned the length of detention, and that's an issue to be decided by the appeal court in terms of the role of the review panel and the time for which they can be detained. I don't want to anticipate any subsequent steps. It is the interpretation of a particular judge of section of the Constitution. We'll have to examine that as we go forward, depending on which way the decision goes. I'm confident that the lawyers who have advised on the appeal are confident of success, and I accept that at this point in time.
Dr. Chang says the government should have the right to take the necessary measures to fight crime. For the news on PBCJ, I'm Simone Absalom Gale.
The government has approved a non-contributory pension scheme to provide assistance to the elderly who do not qualify for retirement pension and who are assessed as vulnerable. The scheme will go a long way towards reaching those who do not have access to any social protection in old age. Marlon Samuels has the details.
Jamaica has a rapidly aging population, a large informal sector, and a relatively high incidence of poverty among older persons. As the society ages, Government pensions and public policies must also adapt. That is happening in Jamaica. Cabinet has approved a new social pension program for Jamaicans. The modest social pension program will benefit Jamaicans 75 years and older, not covered by any existing scheme.
These individuals should not be in receipt of a pension or any other retirement income, old age, or disability benefit. To qualify for this new pension program, the individual should not be a resident in a government institutionalized care facility, should not be in receipt of social assistance through PATH, Poor Relief, or the National Insurance Scheme. The new pension program will provide $3,400 per month to each beneficiary.
Government pensioners will also benefit from an increase.
Persons who receive up to $41,667 per month will now receive an additional $2,300 per month. Persons who receive between $41,668 to $54,167 per month will now get an additional $1,800 per month. Pensioners who receive between $54,168 to $83,333 per month will now get an additional $1,450 per month. Pensioners who receive $83,334 and over per month will get an additional $1,450 per month.
For the news on PBCJ, I am Marlon Samuels.
$187 million. That's how much it's going to cost the government to fix the breakaway along Gordontown Road in St. Andrew. Information Minister Favour Williams says the contract has been awarded to NF Barnes Construction Company Limited.
The roadway collapsed during heavy rains associated with the tropical storm Eta in November 2020, which left many residents marooned, with some opting to walk across what was left of the thoroughfare or risk a dangerous bike ride. While touring the area shortly after the heavy rains, the Prime Minister indicated that it would cost the government some $200 million to effect repairs to the road. The approval of this contract means the work will begin shortly, and once completed, residents will be able to utilize the corridor.
The need for social intervention became even stronger in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has been on our shores since March 2020. With some industries denuded by lockdown and restrictive measures, the pandemic has removed vital security nets for some of our more vulnerable citizens. However, the crisis has also opened the door for greater altruism. 1,400 hygiene and nutrition packages have been distributed across the island by the Bureau of Gender Affairs. COVID-19 has reportedly increased pre-existing social norms, gender inequality, and gender-based violence.
The UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, recently indicated to UN member states that because of the pandemic, women have suffered higher job losses and is being pushed into poverty at higher numbers. He also said that the pandemic has sparked a parallel epidemic of gender-based violence, from violence in the home and online to increased child marriages and sexual exploitation.
The ongoing efforts to address the urgent needs people and communities face as a result of COVID-19 saw 50 care packages being handed over to the Women's Center Foundation of Jamaica on Wednesday. The packages contain food and personal care items.
As partners, we aim to assist by delivering care packages to empower and to build resilience, ensuring that gender differential needs are prioritized during and after the COVID-19 pandemic. This project targets vulnerable groups and families with specific focus on women and girls, on the elderly, on persons with disabilities, rural women, and the working poor who are oftentimes faced with unexpected economic losses during disasters. And you know the work of the Bureau, that just recently there was a case of a lady on the street with her 7-year-old child, and the Bureau has stepped in to take care and to get their lives back on track.
The Government of Canada is also happy to further support give support 200 of the most vulnerable with a provision of 15,000 Jamaican dollars in grants. I understand that this distribution will begin this month.
Selection is underway for 5 women-owned led micro and small businesses to receive a grant of 100,000 Jamaican dollars to assist with the stabilizing of their businesses due to the adverse effects of the pandemic.
The donated packages brings to 1,400 the total number of care packages distributed across the island. The initiative is one of several actions being taken by the government to provide ongoing support to the most vulnerable in Jamaica.
The project is in keeping with the phased and strategic implementation of the Bureau's 10-year National Strategic Action Plan to eliminate gender-based violence. This national plan is part of the ministry's comprehensive response to the vexed issue of gender-based violence and provides support to the Bureau of Gender Affairs Gender Mainstreaming Program. So even if you are not experiencing physical harm, but emotional, whatever are the things that happen to young women and to some young men, that there is an organization through government working with partners to ensure that you get the support.
February is recognized in some countries as Black History Month. Here in Jamaica, it's also celebrated as Reggae Month. Icons such as Dennis Brown, Robert Nesta Marley, Bob Andy, Bunny Ruggs, Colleen Davis, and Derek Harriott are but a few of our local artists born in the month of February. In the past, reggae was used as a rallying cry to tackle social injustices, including the dismantling of the apartheid regime in South Africa. However, as the music has evolved to reflect a changing and even more violent society, there is cause for concern, some of which were recently expressed by Prime Minister Andrew Holness.
You know, our music has been such a powerful tool, not just for Jamaica, but for the world. It is a means of liberation. It elevated us in the eyes of the world. Other nations took our music and it has become anthems for progressive thinking right across the world, for freedom and resistance. And we embrace it as our culture. But in the last few decades, our music has been overtaken by violence. And I want to point it out here because Chronix came and he sang, and not one of his lyrics had anything to do about violence. He's one of my favorite artists. I listen to him all the time. We, by what we're producing, we are devaluing our culture, which is a very important asset for our economic development. So we're not just seeking to focus on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We also see that there is serious work that needs to be done in our creative industries to ensure that we can produce works of art and music that are edifying and uplifting.
Mr. Holness was addressing the Jamaica Stock Exchange Regional Investment and Capital Markets Conference. Motorists will have to dig a little deeper in their pockets this week. The price for gas and diesel has gone up. We get these and other market details in this report from Gabriel Thompson.
According to the latest ex-refinery costs from Petrojam, motorists should see an increase at the pumps in the prices of gasoline and diesel effective Thursday, February 4. Following an increase of $2.53 each, 87 and 90 octane gasoline will be sold for $119.72 and $122.55 per liter respectively. Automotive diesel fuel will be sold for $118.65 per liter, following an increase of $2.06, while ultra-low sulfur diesel is up by $2.63 and will be sold for $123.36 per liter. Meanwhile, kerosene increased in price by $1.83 and will be sold for $93.75 per liter. Propane liquid petroleum saw a price increase of $1.88 and will be sold for $55.24 per liter, and butane liquid petroleum will be sold for $53.01 per liter after an increase of $2.69. Expect price changes as marketing companies and retailers will add their respective markup to these prices. In Wednesday's trading session, the JSE combined index declined by 1,478 points to close at under 400,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 92 stocks, of which 34 advanced, 39 declined, and 19 traded firm. The junior market index advanced by 19 points to close at under 3,000 units. Stocks advanced for 138 Student Living Jamaica, Barita Investments Limited and Cargo Handlers Limited. Stocks declined for Berger Paints Jamaica, Blue Power Group Limited and Caribbean Cream Limited. Trading firm were 1834 Investments Limited, AMG Packaging and Paper Company, and CAC 2000 9.5% preference shares. Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares was the volume leader with 2.1 million units, followed by Pulse Investments Limited with 1.8 million units and Jamaican Teas Limited with 1.7 million units. Now for the foreign exchange. The US dollar on Wednesday, February 3 ended trading at $148.04. The Canadian dollar sold for an average $118.99. The pound sterling traded for $205.28, and the euro ended trading at $182.51. Oil prices extended gains on Thursday after the OPEC Plus alliance of producers stuck to its reduced output policy, and U.S. crude stocks fell with optimism over a new U.S. pandemic relief bill, adding further price support. Brent crude futures gained 25 cents to $58.71 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate crude futures climbed 31 cents to $56 a barrel. And that does it for this edition of the Business Report on PBCJ. I'm Gabrielle Thompson.
For the ultimate food and wine pairing, you need to travel to the wine shop on Annet Crescent in Kingston. There you will be given advice on time-tested guidelines to help you go through life as an educated food lover. There you may just find a new pairing that delights your palate at the wine shop.
The wine shop was really about wines. So that's how we started. We started at Lady Musgrave, where we were importing wines solely for retail purposes. We were importing wines solely for individuals. It reached to a point where persons say, well, you need a location. And then we found a location on South Avenue, which that's where we were, on South Avenue. We were there for 5 years. 5 going 6, we were just distributing wines. We used to give samples until persons will stop by the shop and, can I just pour 2 samples in a glass? Can I just have a glass of wine? And then they will sit there trying to wait on the traffic to die down, and they're like, okay, can I just have a bottle? And then the bottle leads to, do you have any food? Do you have any food around the back? It reached to a point where persons were ordering food in. One of my customers suggested that we converted our office into a kitchen. So we converted the office into a kitchen. We were just using a little tabletop stove where we're just doing little knickknacks, like a finger foods, something quick and easy. And then eventually our menu grew, and then persons became aware of us doing food. We geared everything around my boss, who is Turkish. So we geared all the menu items around tapas or meze, which they're known for. And then eventually the menu grew just by, giving persons what they request. So if somebody come and say, can I have this? We say, all right, next time you'll get it. And that's how our menu expanded. And our friendship with our customers developed into more family. So we are now family orientated. So anybody who comes to the wine shop is no longer a customer, is now family. So we offer personalized services to them. We use only fresh ingredients, we don't use the powder seasoning, so everything is all natural. My boss, who is Turkish, European, they are known for their freshness. So we started by just doing everything from scratch. Everything is fresh, we don't use powder, nothing. We don't use any bottled preservatives, anything. So we maintain the freshness by doing it to order, and in that way we can customize each dish. So you have a customer who can't take salt, no problem. You have a customer who can't take butter, no problem, and so on and so forth. You have customers who want their chicken or their lamb to be well done, no problem. It is customizable for each person, and we maintain that as much as possible. That is one of our strong suits. We don't cut any corners. We normally tell persons that just give us 10 to 15 minutes at most, and your meal will be ready. Our specialty on the menu, our most ordered item on the menu, is our lamb chops. We use fresh garlic, fresh thyme, fresh rosemary, salt and pepper. And you'll be surprised the simplest of ingredients make the tastiest dish. So our extra addition is love. We have a daily lunch menu that changes every day. We try to keep the items every 2 days to give persons enough time to, order it. But if it's not on the menu, they are always welcome to call us and request it. I always tell them, once I have it, you shall have it. Once we have the ingredients, it is easy. Because it's a done-to-order menu or done-to-order item, we always try to aim to give you what you want. Because we started as a wine shop, we're always about wine. We teach people how to hold a wine glass, how to swirl a wine, how to taste a wine, the difference in terms of grapes. Because some persons don't understand that grapes or wines differs by the grapes. So a Merlot is the grape, a Chardonnay is the grape. So we teach persons the basics. We teach persons in terms of the medium dry, to the sweet, to the dry. Because there are persons who have never tried wine. So if they try a dry wine, they will automatically think they don't like wine. So we teach them to start with something or a wine that is a medium wine. We don't teach people to start with a sweet wine, because once, the way how your brain works, once you have had something that is sweet, you can't try anything else. So we always start them with a medium-bodied wine. So once you start with a medium-bodied wine, then you can eventually graduate. Currently we're offering takeout and deliveries until we're open fully to the public. We offer curbside pickup, delivery. In terms of payment, we do online transfers, we do cards, and we do cash. We also offer customized menus for persons that fits their individuality. So currently I have a clientele working with to do a Lent menu that geared around her fasting. So she's currently on a fast, and I will be offering that same menu to other customers. I'll be expanding or putting out that menu for other customers who are interested. So we do stuff like that. So we customize for each person. We are currently open between 12 and 7. Once everything is back to normal, we should extend our hours to 11 o'clock. So if you're looking for a dish that has only fresh ingredients, if you're looking for a wine that is only authentic to us or to you, then the wine shop is the place to be.
In regional news, the island of Barbados is now under a lockdown to curb a COVID-19 spike. The lockdown will run from February 3 to 17. During the period, mini marts will be producing much-needed services to thousands of residents in communities across the country. We get more in this Barbados Today report.
Mini-marts and village shops will be providing much-needed items to thousands of residents, particularly in rural parishes across the country. Along with the country's main supermarkets, the government's COVID-19 directive allows 33 of these establishments to operate across 10 parishes between the February 3rd to 17th lockdown. Some mini-marts and village shops are already reporting steady sales, and unlike the days leading up to the new measures, customers are heeding warnings against lining in the vicinity of these establishments.
There's no rush here. It's pretty much the same. I don't be here at this time usually in the morning, but my manager Alicia, she just said that for the first part of the morning it was quite normal. We still have quite a bit of people coming and wanting to play lottery, which is a no-no. They're not freaking out. They don't want to fight. They're just accepting when you say that, you can't do lottery. So we're open for top-ups or anything like that. You can get your phones topped up, but definitely no lottery at all.
And is this traditionally an establishment where people would line outside to, have a beverage?
Definitely. And if you look on the other side, you'll see that there's a gazebo on the other side. But you'll also see that the gate to that gazebo is also locked off because no one is allowed to line here.
As the first day as a shutdown, the things are going pretty okay. There is nobody on the block, which is very good. The protocols are being carried out, and the sales are moving, picking up. So everything seems to be going right okay for right now.
Our location told me that we should be one of the shops to open. So I was not at all surprised when they said 2 guys would be involved in selling as usual. Before the announcement, we would get a few fellows on the outside giving a bit of trouble, like want to congregate. But once the Prime Minister came on and everybody kind of stepped back a little bit, and over the last few days, we have not been getting the problem of congregation.
And that's our package. Join us again tomorrow, same time, same place, for more news and sports right here on PBCJ, the People's Station.